Hi, folks. I'm Chuck Black, and we're talking about how not to become a good programmer. The topic for today is write all of your code before testing it. I wish I had $1 for every time somebody has written code for an assignment and then showed it to me, asking me what I think. And so I say, does it run? And they say, I don't know. I haven't tested it yet. The proper way to write code is to write a little, then test to make sure it works, all the way through development over and over again from beginning until the end. You will save yourself so much time if you only do this. Let's look at this a little bit deeper. So what am I talking about when I say you need to be testing your code as you write it? Well, I have over here host monitor, and this has only 120 some lines of code. So you'd think you could hammer this out and do a pretty decent job of it. And so you could write it and look at it visually with your own eyes and determine, yep, that's going to work, or nope, that's not going to work. Or if it didn't work, you'd be able to figure out what the problem is. Well, guess what? You write way more bugs into your code than you have any idea. As an example, I wrote just this little Git host program really quickly just to demonstrate it. Now, the first thing that you'll notice is that requests isn't imported. So the good news is you're using an IDE, and that tells you you have an unresolved reference here. If you were using VI or Emacs or Notepad or something, you wouldn't even determine that. The second thing that's wrong is I used HTTPS rather than HTTP. That could be a problem. Another potential problem would be typing in the IP address wrong or something like that. Another problem is I misspelled status code. So this says stats code. That's going to cause a crash. Another problem is I did the logic incorrectly. This should be not equal to 200. And don't get me started on the different 200-ish error codes that come back, either 200 or 204 or whatever. Finally, the last error that I have in here, I think, is that I used parentheses rather than these curly braces like I wanted to do. So just in this little tiny piece of code, I have these errors. That's 6 lines. How many times does 6 go into 120? I'm not going to do the math, but just imagine if you wrote everything out and you had that many bugs in it. You would not want to be debugging that situation. Let me show you a better way. So how would I write this code if I was doing it myself? Well, I would start from the top rather than from down in the bowels of the code. And I would create this main function. I don't even need to define main at the beginning. I can clean that up later. What I will say is I'm going to do while true. I can see that I'm doing that. And now the important thing is I'm going to do hosts equals get hosts. Now I haven't written get hosts yet, so that's going to be a problem. So what I want to do is begin to write that. Okay, now at this point, I've got a little bit going on here. I can actually see what happens when I run it. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to stop it. And you'll notice that I'm getting data like I was hoping to get. And what you may have seen in the middle was I got something that said too many requests. I don't know if you saw that. I don't know if I still have it here. Let's see if I can find it. Whoop. There we go. Failed to retrieve host too many requests. So I have a request limit set on the number of requests that can come in for this in order to prevent denial of service attacks. So I was getting that. That would tell me, oh, well, look, I'm just doing this while true, and it's going on and on and on forever. I don't want to be doing that. I want to slow it down. And in fact, that is what I do in my main function here. I have a sleep. So I'm going to do a sleep here. I'm just going to sleep for 30 seconds. And now let's see. Oh, guess what? And here, name sleep is not defined. If I had looked a little bit closer, I would have seen that that's my error. So I need to do an import sleep. That's what I need to do. All right, let's give it a shot. Okay, so here I know that this part is working. And now what I can do, because it looks correct, is I can move on and begin to do the next thing. Now what's the next thing? The next thing is probably going to be something like monitor hosts. So I can say, begin and say monitor hosts, and I can pass in hosts. You notice that I did hosts, and of course it's telling me that I haven't written that yet. So at this point in time, I would go and I would write monitor host. The point is, at any specific instance in time when I do have errors, I know, because this was working beforehand, that the error is occurring in the thing that I just added. So this will help me to understand what's going on, what's going wrong, and how to fix it in the future. Okay, so to review quickly, if you want to become a good programmer, you will develop the habit of writing a bit of code, then testing to see if it works or not. Once it does work, move ahead to the next bit of code. You will be so glad that you did.